The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to today's Gold Session with your host, Willie Miranda.
Good afternoon, Gold members, and thank you very much for coming on today's call. We have a great event for you today. Actually, as you can see on your screen, the Thanksgiving Annual Pie event is what we're going to be talking about today. This is something that I get a lot of great feedback from over the years on both coaching but also with my own agents. And we've built our agency over the last 5 years doing these pie events. We've had a lot of people really look forward towards this event, and they talk about this one event. I have the other event that I do with our children's hospital that we get a lot of people that give us a lot of great feedback on. But I would say this is probably the second most popular event that we have amongst a lot of our clients. And we talk about that. I talk about building your business by referral, and I talk about it in the Ultimate Referral Agent Machine about how it's very important to get your database set up, to really deepen relationships with those people in the database. But at the end of the day, your business is all about your database. And there's still agents and there's still coaching members that are struggling with getting that database together and using that and how to actually effectively go after that so that you're building relationships with your clients so that you can get continuous repeat and referral business. So we're going to talk about that. And we talk about client events, and there's all different kind of client events that you can have. I mean, this is just one of them. I have friends of mine that do comedy night where they have comedians that come in, and it's more of an adult type of venue that they have for their adult clients to come and enjoy, and they have a cash bar, and they have comedians that come in. We've had people that have done movie nights, and I've talked about that in the past on our gold calls. Pat Garrity, a very good friend of mine, Diamond member, does a great job with pie events, and he actually ties it into charity events. So he does a food drive with that. But the list goes on and on. We have Easter egg hunts and Santa Claus pictures. I mean, the list goes on and on of different ways that you can be more engaged with your clients and give back, right? And that's really the motto of what I teach and what I talk about in my book and what I talk about in the referral agent machine is that as agents, my goal is to try to have other agents and agents in my agency is to make more money, have more fun, and give more back. And this is a great way for you to be able to give back, especially this time of the year, Thanksgiving, the holidays are here, Christmas, great time of the year to go out and see your clients, great time of the year to, people want to see you, right? People have more time to themselves, and just people are happier usually this time of the year, and this is a great time to take advantage of that. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right in, and I got a couple special guests that I'm going to introduce you to in a few minutes. But before I do so, I just wanted to let everyone know that just kind of a quick housekeeping and remind you about last time. The last gold webinar that I did was on the 12-week year, and we talked about prioritizing your goals to maximize your results. We talked about being more focused and productive in your business. I mentioned to you that in my agency and also with some of our coaching member masterminds that we've had, focus and time management was key for a lot of agents feeling that they just don't have enough time in a day. They're not focused on the right priorities. And we did a great webinar last time on this, so if you missed it, you definitely want to make sure you go back and take a look at that because we had some great handouts and some great tools for you to be able to focus on that moving into 2016. Now, at the end of this call, I just want to put it out there that I'm going to have Trish's, my assistant's email that you'll be able to email her, and she'll send you the link for the 12-week year. You could just ask her to send you that. But everything that you see here on today's screen, you'll also get access to. But we're also going to give you some bonuses with some Word documents, so you don't have to go and retype all this stuff. It'll be a Word document. You take my name off, take my company off, put your name on, put your company on, and you'll be able to go right away and start implementing this stuff right away. So back to this whole 12-week year, you definitely want to take a look at this. It shows you also by having more time and being more focused on the things that you need to be in, you'll be able to spend more time with your family. And taking your business to the next level. So that was a great webinar. I really appreciate the feedback. And at the end of today's call, like I said, I'm going to give you Trish's email. If you give if you give the feedback to Trish on that email, that would be great. If there's anything that you'd like to see in the future, definitely add it on to that email. But love to see how you like the format of these webinars that we're doing. All right, my shameless bribe here of telling you guys to help out here and support me on this book launch that we're doing. We're having a huge Amazon bestseller campaign going on. You've probably gotten some of these emails already. Had some great feedback, a couple of emails that I got back to me already. But I wanted to explain that you can't buy the book yet. Some people wanted to just get the book right away. But the big launch is going to be Thursday, December 3rd. And the realestatebusinessbook.com is the website that you want to go to actually be able to see and be able to click on a button where you can save it to your calendar. But it'd be a huge help, and I really appreciate your support on this. This is where you can get access to my book, How to Not Get Your Ass Kicked in Real Estate Business. And again, this book has tons of information on it, but it really tells a little bit about my story, and then I dive into what I do with my agents, my coaching members, and really how I built my business to where it is today. We just hit a huge milestone a couple weeks ago where we went over $1 billion in real estate sales and just over 5,700 transactions. And I talk about not only the successes of my business, but I also talk about a lot of the challenges that I faced, and also documented a lot of my wins and losses. So it's a great book. It's definitely worth I don't know what it's going to be. I think it's $19.99 or $14.99, whatever it's going to be. But on that, I'm also going to give, if you buy on that day, and this is why it's important, if you buy on that day, you'll also get $700 and I think it's like $92 worth of other bonuses. So I'm going to give you a copy of my buyer presentation on PowerPoint, a lot of tools and templates that we use in our office, some additional webinars on time management, and also how to build your referral business, and the list goes on and on. So you definitely want to make sure that you wait till December 3rd to purchase that, and the realestatebusinessbook.com is the website that you want to go to. All right, so jumping into today's topic, why have a pie event? And the reason for that is really just a great way to keep in touch with your clients, and I mentioned this already on the call. But it's definitely going to generate more referrals for you because, again, people do business with who they know, like, and trust. And coming to these events, you'd be surprised of the number of people that will attend who will drive. I mean, I've had snowstorms during our Thanksgiving pie events thinking that, you know what, no one's going to come. It's snowing out. And believe it or not, you have all these people that come. And some of them drove 30 minutes to pick up, a $7, $8, $10 pie. And I couldn't believe it. And where I came across this whole concept was from a broker friend of mine that lives here in my market. Her name is Dawn McCurdy, and she's going to be with us in a few minutes as one of our special guests. But I attended one of hers that she had, and she said, geez, this was pretty good. The next year she did it was even more people, more success from it. So I at that point I said, I got to get one of these going. And she gave me her templates, just like I'm going to give to you guys. She gave me her information on what she did step by step. And as a result of that, we've been having successful pie events now for the last 5 years. So the reason for it, though, also is that it really sets you apart from your competitors, right? We always talk about that. Why do business with you versus all the other agents in your marketplace? This is really going to set you apart. And I've had people actually bring friends and family members to these events, and they're like, geez, my agent never did this for me. I just bought a house, a month ago or a year ago, and I've never heard of this, Or my agent, I haven't heard from my agent since the closing table, if they even went to the closing. So these are the type of things that we like to do to show that not only do we deal with you during the transaction as far as a customer goes, but that we're going to be with you forever, hopefully, for as long as we're in business, but really deepen that relationship with that customer so that we do get repeat referral business and that we stay top of mind with our customers. So it really makes a great connection for our clients and other clients. So I have two special guests today, like I mentioned, Dawn McCurdy, broker owner of McCurdy Real Estate Group. And Dawn, you there?
Yes, I am.
Dawn, thank you very much for taking the time today to be on our call. You've helped out in the past. You've helped out also on my referral agent machine product, which I want to say thank you very much. But you've been, I always kid everyone, Dawn helped me with my first listing paperwork back in, when was that, 1999 or something like that. But it was one of my first listings. I didn't know how to do it, and I was helping her on something, and I said, I need help on this listing paperwork, and she kind of laughed about it and said, here, do this, and do that, and went out and got my first listing, and it was great. But so since then, we've done a lot of business together and networked a lot together. And this is one of the things that I mentioned before was an idea that I'm sure you picked up at another mastermind or networking event and implemented in your business, and it's really taken off. But you heard me say a few things about it. What would you say, overall, what's been the experience for you in having your own pie events?
This is my 8th annual. I think you had mentioned I started a few years before you did. And I used to sell, bring everyone I sold in the current business year a pie for Thanksgiving, and it turned out, to take pretty much like a whole weekend. So when I did go to a networking event, like you had said, I heard of this, reverse Popeye type of thing, and it turned it all around and invited, because you can only reach a certain amount of people if you're going out and visiting. By the time I finished visiting everyone, which was a great, they really, really appreciated it. You get to see their families, their homes. There's a lot to that as well. But I was able to bring a better volume of people into my office, and then include all the, business vendors that give us referrals during the year, and more of my A-plus people that continue years after year. So it was a great way to bring people to me instead of having to go out and, visit everyone. And the reception on it was just amazing. People call me, what's the date, Dawn? It's been the same date every year. It's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. We don't want to miss it. Can we bring a friend? What kind of pie do you have this year? I mean, these calls really start in September. So the family it's really created, in the community, in our database, which you focus on, that is so important. Last year, I had 5 generations of people. I've been in the business over 30-something years. I had 5 generations of clients from the same family. So it's just, we do this as a way to give back and to appreciate, that you're thankful. But the other side of it, and I think, Rosemary has had even better success, the amount of referrals and the appreciation you get back, far outweighs even what you could ever do for them. And it's such a small, there's small ways to do this. I don't know if you'll talk to me about, some of the different things. I've done different things over the years. It's just amazing. People just, as you said, drive through snowstorms 30, 60 miles away. They just want to see you, and they also they start seeing some of your other clients. So it's really fun, and I've enjoyed it. I actually look forward to it every year, probably more so than they do.
Well, great. Thanks for that feedback, and we are going to do a little deeper dive on some of these next slides that I'll need your input on, and we'll definitely show some of the similarities and also some of the differences that we do on there. I also have Rosemary Nelson on the line. Rosemary is a Gold Coach member, Gold Coaching member, I should say, and Rosemary and I have been coaching for over a year now. And one of the things with Rosemary is that she's a great student. I mean, she listens, she comes to the events, which is very important. I always tell my coaching members, you learn so much at the super conferences. But, Rosemary and I had a conversation, and a lot of the calls, she was starting to get some calls that were coming in, but she just, like we all struggle with follow-up and calling these cold leads, and, it takes a lot of time to cultivate that. So in the meantime, I said, while we're building up that business, what worked for you in the past? And most of her business did come from referrals and repeat business, but she didn't have a database. And, I said, Rosemary, how do you not have a database? I said, you're a good agent, people love you, and you do a great job for them. Where's your database? And she says, well, I don't have one, but the names and everything else are in files in the garage. So, Rosemary, are you there?
I'm here, yes.
Good afternoon, Rosemary. Hello. So what happened with all of these files? What did you end up doing that we talked about that you were very successful on doing?
Oh, gosh. Well, you just told me to go to the garage, so that's what I did. I went to the garage and I just compiled a list of all my clients that I've worked for many, many years. And I just mailed them the letters, I went ahead and I did my database and mailed all the invitation. I think I had about 100, maybe 120 people. And I can't believe how successful it was, and I'm very, very happy. I'm very pleased with it.
Awesome. So, Rosemary, how long have you been in the business now?
Oh, been in the business? Gosh. I've been in the business for many years. I haven't been doing it full time, but I've been in the business for maybe about 10 years, on and off.
Awesome. Awesome. Mm-hmm. And Dawn, you've been in the business now for many years. I know you started right out of I think you were like 19 years old when you first started in the business, correct?
17. Yep.
17. So even better.
Yeah,
All right,
over 30 years.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and jump in, and with that, I'm also going to introduce our next guest speaker, special guest, Julie Riccio. Julie's been with me for a very long time. I've known Julie, geez, Julie, I've known you since you've been probably 2 years old, and Julie's been with me now for about 12 years, and does a lot of stuff for us on the listing side and helps us with our listings and our marketing on our listings. But Julie's going to show us step by step on how to do that Google Doc so that you guys are not too scared of it. It's really easy to do. She's going to show you within about 3 or 4 minutes, 5 minutes, how you can set that up for yourself. And we're going to give you the templates, and Julie went ahead and was nice enough to type out all the step-by-step directions on how to do it, so you don't need to worry about taking all kinds of notes right now. Once you email Trish later, she'll go ahead and send you those notes with the PowerPoint slides and everything else. So Julie, you there?
Yes, I am.
So Julie, I know that we just sent out our letters and sent them out, and so far, I know a lot of the feedback, people email back, they call into our company to come to the event. But anything you wanted to add about what your experience has been with the PI event and what you've seen with our clients with it?
Nope, I think you pretty much hit everything on the head with that.
All right, well, good stuff.
Saying so far.
All right.
But they seem to definitely really appreciate it, which is very nice. And when they're calling in, they always have nice things to say.
Well, and that's they better, right, Julie? Or we'll take them off our list for next year. We won't give them any pies. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this. So, this is a convenient time for most people. We usually set up the time and date to be the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, usually between 4 and 7. People are on their way home. They haven't gone home yet. Maybe they picked up their kids and they stopped by with their kids. And then by 7 o'clock, this time of year for us on the East Coast, it's pretty dark. So 4 to 7 has usually worked out great for us. But one of the things I wanted to mention on here, because I did have a member email me, and I wanted to address this, is that it doesn't just have to be on Thanksgiving. It doesn't have to be, only this time of the year. You could pick Christmas, you could pick New Year's. I know a lot of successful events have taken place on July 4th, where they give out an apple pie on July 4th. But this is just something like Dawn mentioned before, you're giving back, and it doesn't matter what time of the year you do that. But we have chose the day before, or the Tuesday before Thanksgiving as the best time for us to do it, and then that's what our clients are ready to see each and every year, and that's what they expect every year from us. But that's usually the time and date that we do it, because I know there was a couple questions on when you actually do that. We like to do the event usually 2 to 4 weeks before the event is when we do the planning of it, I should say. Some people take a little bit longer because they have to put together all the documents, they have to put together all their lists. We're going to give you a lot of this information, so this is why you could still do this and still have a very successful event prior to the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. By doing this. And like I said, you can do this within the next couple of weeks. But first thing you want to do is you obviously want to find a location. For us, we do it in our office, which has worked out great. But it can be done at your home, and that's where Rosemary actually just mentioned. She did her first pie event at her home, and I believe you're doing a second one there as well. Or you could pick another venue. You could pick anywhere you want to have it. But and like Dawn said, for many years, and many of my agents actually go out and hand deliver those. So if you have 10, 15, or 20 people that you have on your list, and that's all you're going to be giving out pies, and you want to go out and personally see them at their homes and see their families and all that, you definitely can do that. But as you grow your team and as you grow this event, it'll get to the point where I think, Julie, how many pies did we actually give out last year?
Total, we were probably at like 300 total.
Okay, right. So we gave out about 300 pies
all
last year.
the agents. Yep.
Yeah, and that's with myself and also with my agents giving back. So, as you get growing and as you get bigger, it does, that's a lot of houses to go out and hit 300 homes. So, and I got to say that a lot of customers, like Dawn mentioned, love to come to the office, see the office. Dawn's got 2 beautiful daughters. So do I. But she has 2 beautiful twins that she has, and I know that a lot of them, and Dawn has kept in contact with her customers and sending them out newsletters, and they've watched the kids grow over the years. And that's made a huge difference, and they enjoy coming to the office to see that. But so finding a location is very important. Creating your guest list, You can arrange for valet parking if needed, if you don't have a lot of parking. Definitely arrange for a photographer. We have pictures that are taken, and I'm going to show you why and what you want to do with those photos, but taking pictures are very important so that you can actually send it to them after the event. Figure out where you're going to go ahead and buy the pies from, and that's another huge question that I always get from coaching members, like, where do you buy these things? And believe it or not, we buy our pies at Sam's Club, and you can get a really good quality apple pumpkin pecan pie for $8, $7. You can get them for as little as $10. I mean, I know that in years past we always shop it, but that's usually about what the pies will cost you. And some of these bakeries you can go to, and if you buy them in bulk, they'll give you a much better rate. And then the other things you want to, after you get all that information again together, is you want to be able to print them out and get some address labels and get those out in an envelope. So I'm going to show you that invite in a second. But Dawn or Rosemary, if you want to chime in on that, is there anything on there that you want to add to that?
On the invitation, Willie, or I just want to say on the calls, when you were saying that, we were actually making our calls too. We just mailed out our invitation last Thursday, and the first question people say are Dawn's girls going to be there? So these are people that they're not just coming to get their pie. I have people that literally run in and out for a second, and I have people that stay 3 to 4 hours. So it's really interesting, and and they start talking with other people. So it's just amazing, what type of feedback you get there. But what were you looking specific on the invitation, Willie?
Yeah, I think so much. The other thing is, getting it together, getting that list together. Like, who do you really hone in on as far as getting? Who do you invite to the event?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you can go.
I use I always invite the people that I've had a transaction with in that year. Anyone that has given me a referral that year, and any of my A+ people who have sent me multiple referrals, whether it be this year or in the past. So that's been my criteria, and I use top producer, so it's very easy all year. So basically, it literally took me probably 15 minutes to get this invitation out. You're going to give everybody the flyer. They just change, the few particulars on there, and then you just tag your people in whatever database management system you're using. And I just took 2015 closed. As we get referrals during the year, we also tag them as a referral or referee, and I always have all my A+. So that list in Top Producer took about, 5 minutes to put together, and you can you'll probably show some different ways, but for many years I just did a italicized, just pretty much a label. This year I did send out personal notes with the invitation enclosed, so you can either way you get the same result. And I put a little tag on the outside, your pie invitation enclosed or special invitation enclosed, and it always gets opened.
All right, thank you very much for that, Dawn. And I know, Rosemary, we already said the story about you going out in your garage and getting that first 100, but this year you're not only you're doing that and all the people that you sold to this year, but you also added a little bit of a twist. Maybe you can talk a little bit about who else you're inviting this year.
Oh, yes. Well, from my event, one of my leads, or one of the people that came to my event, wanted to buy a house, and this was a single-story home, and it was in my farm. And the way that everything kind of worked out, from that lead, I got some listings in my farm. So this year, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to invite my whole farm, because I've done very well there this year. So I'm going to add that to my list, as well as obviously, my past clients and all people that I've helped this year too.
And how many people on your farm, Rosemary?
Oh gosh, there's 233.
233. Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know you did a specific flyer for that. So I know there was a question on here by Cindy George. Cindy, thank you very much for your question. But she mentioned, will you be able to get a copy of this flyer? you will get a copy of this flyer. I'm also going to send you Rosemary's flyer and also Dawn's flyers, so you'll actually be able to see the flyer that Rosemary is sending out to her farm area. For many of you on the call, you may have farm areas that you go after, whether it be 200, 500, a couple thousand, doesn't matter. But a lot of people say, geez, you're crazy. You're going to have to go buy, a couple hundred pies right off the rip. And that's not true. What we found is probably, I know for myself and what we send out and the number of people that we send out, we may get like a 25%, 30% sometimes return from the number of people that we invite to actually do the pie event, to actually who stops by or orders a pie. Rosemary, I think last year you sent out 100 or so, and I think you had maybe about 20 of them, so that's about the same for you, about 20%. Dawn, any percentage on yours now? You've been doing it for 8 years. What's your return on that?
Because the people are so specific, we're at a really high rate. I haven't opened it up like I know you have, Willie, and it sounds like Rosemary did to a farm. But I may have 5% not show up, so we're really high.
Okay, all right. So
but there's also a lot more, Willie. You're going to get into the the system. We're also calling and doing a lot of things to make sure these people show up.
Right, and that's what we're going to break down right now. And you're right. I mean, it's just a matter of getting out there, getting the list out there. But the point I was trying to make is that just because you send out 200 invitations doesn't mean 200 people are going to reply to you and you're going to have to buy all these pies. But I will tie into this and Rosemary's success as well. The people that do get it, 200 people will get the invite. They will open the invite. And they will appreciate very much that you offered it to them, even though they weren't able to participate. And a lot of times we will get emails and phone calls that, hey, thank you so much for inviting me, but I can't make it this year. But it's the whole law of reciprocity, right? The fact that you actually gave them something and that you offered them something, in return they still feel that, you know what, that's a great guy, that's a great gal. And when the topic of real estate comes up, that you're top of mind with them and they will give you a referral. And that's what we've seen. And actually, while we're on that subject, and that's one of the things that that Rosemary, some of her success on it, and I'll just share that with you right now. I have the numbers here in front of me. But with Rosemary, what happened, you sent out the 100 list of people, right? You sent it out to those people, and you invited them to your home. You had about 20 people that said yes, they would. And you had some great success and some people that came and people that said, geez, I haven't heard from you, or I lost touch with you because you had switched companies and I didn't have your information. But the actual pie event itself, I have to say that you said it was very relaxed. It was nice. People, you were talking to people, and this one knew that one. But you also had some success with people that didn't show up, and maybe you could touch base on that.
Exactly. I sent an invite to these people that I met, maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and they were renting. And I had the mailing address. I mailed it, and then I think it was like 3 months later after the event, I get a phone call from Lucy, and she said, "Oh, Rosemary, I've just received your invitation for the pie. I guess they moved out, and somehow my invite got to them." Anyways, long story short, they bought a condo from me. We closed on a $400,000 condo. So to me, that was like, wow, not even how she got that invite. So that was kind of fun, and they never came to the event.
Right.
So that was awesome.
Yeah, and some of the notes I had here from our call the other day is that you had that 400. You had another $565,000 that came that was actually at the event at a referral. But then what happened is that Rosemary got, remember, and then you got a referral from someone that, again, one of your investors that you invited to the event, but they never even came to your event, but they reached out to you and said, I can't make the event, but my mom is looking to buy a house, and she's a cash buyer. And so how did that turn out for you?
Oh my gosh, that was awesome. Anyway, she was a cash buyer, so I worked with her several months. So I was with her, and she was very specific. She wanted a single-story home, and eventually she wanted to live in the same neighborhood as their son-in-law, and it happened to be my farm. And So what I did is, well, you told me, I was telling you about it, and you told me to send this letter to the firm that you have a cash buyer, they're ready to buy, and so forth. After that letter, I get 2 phone calls. One of my phone calls, it was a 2-story, so it didn't work, but I listed the house. And then I got another phone call. It was a single story, but by the time I listed that house, she had already bought. So it was kind of like a ripple effect, from that one lead. And also, the single story that I just sold, I sold it in 8 days, and I put out my sign, and then from there I got a lead, and I've just listed the house, which it's in escrow right now. So
It's amazing how everything just trickled down. But the point being on this is what I'm trying to point out to you guys is that this went from files in a garage that we took out, sent out to the database, had a small event, only 20% of them showed. The people that came were very grateful for it and got some great connections with some old clients. But even the people that didn't show said, you know what, I have some business for you, and referred business. And then from there, it sparked into other business that turned into other business. So the end result, because we track our numbers in coaching, and with Rosemary, she had 8 transactions, 2 of them which she double-ended, because you got listings from it and actually double-ended. But it equaled just under $5 million total in business. And the commission was just over $121,000 in commission. And how much does this pie event cost you?
About $500.
About $500.
Yeah.
Right,
when you told me to do my figures, I know.
Pretty good return on investment, huh?
You bet.
So these are just some of the things. Now, again, everyone could vary, and I'm sure this is not something that you do a pie event. Don't call me a week or 2 later and saying, Willie, this stinks. I didn't get anything from it. It does take time. You will have this trickle effect that does take effect. You may get referrals right at the event. You might get referrals a couple weeks after your event. You might get it a year after your event. But the point being is that, and Dawn said it perfectly, is that you do the event to touch base with your clients, to deepen that relationship with your customers. And the benefits to you on the back end is that they will give you repeat referral business when the topic of real estate does come up. So a couple questions on here I just wanted to talk about here is that we had a question on here, can you return the pies back to Sam's Club? We only, and I'm going to show you how you order these, but we'll only actually buy the number of pies when people, they have to put their order in, and that's what this whole thing is all about. And I will show you that link. I don't know if I can actually do it on here on the screen, but I will show you this link at the end of our call. But it'll actually go, and you can go to, whatever you do, just don't go on there and order anything. I'm going to show you how it works in a minute. But MirandaPieEvent.com is the link that they go to, and they can actually pick out the pie they want. They put their name, their information in there. And then at the end, we total it all up, and that's why Julie knew that number, because we knew how many pies to actually purchase. And I will say that at the end of the event, we usually have, you're always going to have 5 or 6 people that didn't show. They forgot about it, wasn't in their schedule, their kid was sick, whatever the situation may be. And usually what we do is the next day, we just go out and hand deliver those pies to their property, or they'll actually come in the next day and pick it up the next day. So, Dawn, same experience on your end?
Absolutely. Actually, I think there's some people that intentionally come in the next day so they could spend alone time with us. And they really do. And there's a dozen people that will come in. I always know I don't even put them in for that night, but they absolutely do that. And then the fun part is also going out and delivering them to people too, or thinking of other people. And that's why it's nice the Tuesday before. You might think of somebody else. Oh, maybe my attorney or someone. You're just out and everybody's happy. The day before Thanksgiving, they're all getting out of work early, go out that morning. It's just so much fun, and people are like, wow, a pie? So they really never go to waste.
So let me ask you something. Brad had a great question on here that I want you to answer. He asked, do you ask for referrals at the event from your clients, or is this an event?
That is a great question, and I do not ask for referrals at the event, but I am very clear, and I actually have some literature around the office. I have one of the successful things I've done. It's so funny. I put a tree up, and on the branches and leaves, on one of the walls in my office, I put the people's name and who they referred, and they referred. People are like, how do I get my name up there? How do I do that? And I said, well, so they bring it up. I said, well, if you give us a referral, then your name goes up there. People just want to be on that tree of referrals, so that indirectly comes up. But I do make sure I get across that and it's on a lot of the things I have out in my office, Willie. I don't know if we'll show that. It's on the pies, it's on the, the pie cutters, it's on everything, how much I appreciate them and the confidence and, referrals that they do give me throughout the year, and that's how my business is based. So I don't say it to them, but I indirectly show that.
Yeah, and everything we do, we have it on there. So if you look on this flyer right now, like Dawn mentioned, and this is exactly what Dawn's flyer looks like, very similar to this, but, I appreciate the continued support this Thanksgiving and every day. But if you notice at the bottom down here, it says buying or selling a home or know someone who is, give me a call today with their name and number. I'm never too busy for your referrals, as I promise to take care of them, and I have my phone number and email address. So for all your real estate needs, visit, and then we give them the website. So you're asking them, Brad, but you're not, kind of. I mean, they know, obviously, and those that go there, they want to refer business because, like Dawn said, they want to get their name on the board or they want to continue to get invited back. So when people do come in and we're talking to them, say, geez, I was surprised. I got, no, hey, you do business with us, and I know you refer people in the future to us, and we just want to say thank you very much for that. Or if people are there, we'll say, hey, want to thank you for your support and all your referrals that you've given us now or in the future. And that's kind of it. We're not going to say, hey, who do you know, and give me a name right now, even though I'm sure there's people that would do that. This is not the purpose of this event. The event is just to get them there and to, again, thank them for their business. See any other questions on here?
Willie, can I just say one more thing about what Brad asked?
Yeah, go ahead.
It was just very interesting. People start coming to your event and bringing you either the names of people or bringing people with them that want to buy or sell.
That's true.
So they actually bring referrals with them or bring the names of referrals. They're just so used to that, and it's like, I just want to show you how my realtor friend works. You definitely want to be with somebody. They'll ask in advance, can I bring them with me? So it's really nice.
All right, and then we have on here, how do you send the invitations out? We mail them, and then I'm going to show you an email that we use after for the ones that haven't responded. We actually send them an email too, so they actually get it twice. So I think that was pretty much it on here. Email them and then ask for referrals. So we answer everyone's question up to date. But if you do have any questions, definitely put them in the question box. I'm going to move a little quicker through this so we're not on this call too much more than what we allotted for. But who to invite, we talked about that already. Your A clients, the one that's giving you referrals, but anyone that has bought or sold a home for you in the past year. And then obviously anyone that's special to you, right? There's some people that have never bought a house from me. Maybe never referred me at that point, but I know they're a big advocate for us if they did know someone. And it might be someone, maybe a lender, or maybe it's an attorney or a vendor that I'm using that I want to kind of bring into the fold. I'll invite them as well. 2 to 3 weeks before the event, we said mail the invitation, so that I answer some of your questions there. And clients are asked at that time to order their pies in advance. So they can pick a pumpkin or an apple, and I know Dawn does a pecan pie because she has a couple customers that prefer that. So she, again, customized it to her customer base based on their feedback, and she added that one on there. But this is why you're not going to go crazy and buy 500 pies and only have 2 people show up. You want to make sure that you get those orders in, and Julie's going to show us how to do that. 1 week or 1 day before the event, this is the actual email follow-up, and I know it's hard to read, so I'll just read it real quick, but it just says on there, because of great people like you, I'm able to continue to build my business by referral. As a special thank you, I will be hosting a pie giveaway on the date mentioned above. To reserve your apple or pumpkin pie, please visit MirandaPieEvent.com or call us at 518-348-2060, and then I put on an RSVP that I need to have it the Tuesday by November 17th because obviously we want to get that order in and have it for them the following week. Look forward to seeing you soon. So that is the email that we send out, and again, I'll make sure that you get that sent out to you. But you can call, you could text clients that have not responded to you yet if you want to do that by text. You want to make sure that you give your supplier the final count, the number of pies that you're going to need, and again, try to look for that bulk rate if you can. And if you need valet parking and have a photographer, you want to make sure that you verify the time and date with them as well, because the last thing you want to do is not have a photographer show up or someone that's going to be valeting cars for you if they don't show up to the event. All right, Monday, before the event, you want to make sure that you pick up your pies, and this is where we actually start making up those stickers that we were talking about, those Happy Thanksgiving from Miranda Real Estate Group, and I'm going to show you an example of that in a minute. But you just keep it simple. You know, you don't want to go too crazy with it. I mean, they give you a nice box pie at Sam's Club or Costco's or any one of these places. It's in a nice, you know, we put a ribbon around it, we put a nice sticker on it, thanking them for their business, and you know, one of the, C here is very overnight if you're going to do that. You know, apple can stay out, but definitely with pumpkin pies, you want to make sure that you have some refrigeration somewhere that you can do that. Usually that time of the year for us on the East Coast, it's pretty cool, so we're able to do that. But the other thing is you want to make sure that you get stuff for the event. So we like to have, we'll have bottled water, we'll have soda, we'll have different snacks that we have, like chocolate chip cookies or sugar cookies for the kids. And most clients are on their way home. They want to grab something to eat real quick. Kind of gives the kids that sugar high while they're there. And that's what we do. Dawn, I know you do a little bit different. And Rosemary, I know you had some food done. But just real quickly, what do you add to that, Dawn? What do you guys have as far as that goes?
We've gone a little bit overboard, and we started that way, so it's hard to go back. So I wouldn't actually recommend it all. What you do, you know, keeping it simple is pretty nice. But we have wine and, you know, some beer, water. We also do lots of appetizer foods like little meatballs and, you know, all the Sam's Club stuff. You know, just little things, crackers, cheese, fruit. And I actually have a lot of the pie, all the pies cut up so people actually sample them. So it's really nice. People, they do. You know, some will eat nothing, and some will fill up, you know, their plate 5 times. So
yeah, a couple times.
I try to have enough there.
Well, Rosemary, what did you do on your first event?
Well, I was in a budget, so it was very, very simple, very basic. So there was water and soda, and went to Costco and did, you know, the chips and just little stuff, really, but just very basic. But it was very successful. Everybody enjoyed it, and they were all grateful, too, very grateful.
Yeah, and I think like Dawn said, I mean, you know, just to give you guys some tips on there, I would start off small, keep it simple, and, you know, do it just like what I mentioned before, just some snacks, finger food, stuff like that. Like Dawn mentioned, it's hard to go back once you do that, but it is a lot of work. So on your first event, you don't want to go too overboard, and it's not about the food. It's really about gathering, getting together, and like Dawn said, you know, seeing you over years and years, just keeping that relationship. So it makes a big difference there. So I'll go ahead and switch on a couple screens here. The morning of the party, you could decorate your event. I mean, we keep it light as well, keep it simple. Some can go, you know, overboard and, you know, have all kinds of different things, but you want to have some type of a Thanksgiving theme, arrange the tables, centerpieces, that type of thing. Make sure the napkins, silverware, and plates are laid out. So we do. We get everything kind of laid out so that when people come in and the next day we're ready to go and ready to serve food or give out, you know, the water and cookies and that type of stuff. But, you know, I usually the morning of the party, you're doing that last-minute stuff, right, the last-minute follow-up. During the pie event, this is where, you know, you have a list ready of names. And I got to, you know, I'll be honest, and you guys know I kind of pretty much a straight shooter when it comes to this stuff. Sometimes I'm bad with names. You know, people come in, I'm like, oh, well, who's this person? Who's that person? So as a little trick, we always have a list with names on it and clients, and Julie can testify to this. You know, sometimes I'll say, you know, you guys stand in the front and then come back and get me like I'm talking to, you know, another client, or usually I'm talking to another client in the back. But they will already take that list and have it in their hands. And someone comes in, hey, how you doing? Nice to see you. And great, thanks for coming to the event. You know, what's your name? You know, John Smith. Okay, great. And they'll see my name next to John Smith because that's how you're going to log in, and I'll show you that in a minute. So then they'll come back and say, hey, John Smith is here. So I'll come on, hey, John, how you doing? You know, whatever. And it's helped me because it's very embarrassing when you don't know someone's name or someone walks in and they're looking at you and you're looking at them. You're like, who the hell is this person? But Dawn, I know you know most of your clients and know a lot of their names, but anything to add to that?
Same thing. I have usually our assistant greet people, and ask them what kind of pie they want. I also do cross-reference them on that because we have our little Excel spreadsheet because sometimes people will forget what they ordered, and so that's all marked out. Let's get you your apple pie, and no, pretty much the same thing. They'll come in and say, Dawn, Joan's here to see you, and it's having a good front person, a greeter, is really nice because they don't really know sometimes what they're walking into, which way to go, what to do. So it's welcoming them, telling them they can go get a drink, and then just verifying the pie and say, let's see if we can get Dawn over here.
Awesome. And Rosemary, I know you only did one, but maybe give us some tips for moving forward. But did you have any experience? Did you know pretty much everyone that came in, or did you have some of the same feeling of that?
No, I knew it. I knew everybody that was coming. I knew everybody. Mm-hmm.
All right, and then the last piece on here, obviously have fun, smile a lot, shake hands, kiss babies, all that stuff. But it's great. We do have a good time with it. We joke around. We take pictures with our clients, and it's definitely a good time on there. But the one point I want to say on there, at 6:30, or right around 6:30, on that one slide, you want to take a look at your list, and this is where you'll find 4, 5, 6, 8 people that didn't come yet or didn't check in. So what we do is we give them a courtesy call. We just give them a call, make sure. And you'll be surprised the number of people are like, that was tonight? Oh, my God, I forgot. You're right. I'll be right there. And then they actually come to the office and pick it up, and they're very thankful that you call them. If not, we'll leave them a voicemail and tell them that, hey, if you can't make it tonight, no problem. We'll have it here in the office tomorrow. And that's when they come in, and they really appreciate the phone call that you gave them. And then there's been times where I've called, and, one lady, it was snowing out, and she just didn't like to drive in the snow. And I said, hey, you know what, don't worry about it. We're done around 7:30. Is it okay if I stop before, 8:30 tonight? Sure, and I stopped by, and she was very grateful for that. I think she was like 78 years old and just didn't want to go out in the dark in the snow. So you can do that as well. Day after the pie event, and this is probably one of our, almost to the end here, our last slide, you want to call, text anyone who forgot to pick up their pies. I mentioned that. The week after, like Dawn mentioned, send a personal note and a photo if you have one of them to everyone that came to the event. Again, just thanking them for coming to the event. You really appreciate their support, and if there's anyone in the future that is looking to buy or sell, you'd be more than happy to help them. So going back to that question that we had before, that's exactly when you ask at that point, and you're not even asking, right? You just kind of, that should be part of your follow-up anytime that you're corresponding with your clients. But that's kind of the more passive way of doing it. But again, you're planting that seed that you're looking for referrals. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and have Julie, and I'm going to switch the screen to you, Julie, to talk about this whole Dropbox link, and just so everyone can see, not Dropbox link, but the Google click. So I'm just going to go on my screen real quick, and hopefully I can bring up my sheets here. Had a couple questions as to what you guys can get. Here's the invitation labels that we actually send out. So we actually put these stickers on the outside of the envelope when we mail them to them. Invitation enclosed. Please RSVP by 11/17/2015. We put that on the outside of the envelopes. So you guys are going to get that in a Word document, so you don't have to recreate that. The pie event is right here. You're going to get that in Word. So, take Willie out and, put your own name in there. But see, here's the Miranda Pie event. If I open up that link, you'll see that it's going to go direct set up. And they put their first name, their last name, what kind of pie they want. It drops down the apple or pumpkin, which office they prefer to pick it up at. So we have 3 different locations, 2 satellite offices and a main office. They put their agent's name in there, so we need that because we have multiple agents in our office, and their email address, so we can update their records, but also remind them about the event. The back end to this, so you can expect by setting this up. You don't have to do this. I know, Dawn, you don't do this. They actually will email you or they'll call the office. We just found that with the number of people that we have, people are okay by doing it that way, and it's just a little quicker for us and a little bit more organized for us. And if people do call in, Julie will open up that form and just type them in herself so that we have them in one nice place, and she's going to show you that. And here are the pie labels that we actually do. So it's Happy Thanksgiving. As I count my blessing this Thanksgiving, know that you are among them. Clients like you have made my business what it is, and for that I'm extremely grateful. Wishing you and your loved ones a peaceful Thanksgiving and a joyful holiday season, Willie. So that goes on the actual box as well. So you'll get that in a Word document mailed out to you, and I'll also send you Dawn's form and also Rosemary's form on that. So with that, Julie, how do we set this beautiful form up for people? And I know you mastered this, so I'm going to go ahead and switch the controls over to you.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
I can.
Okay, great. First thing, if you don't have a Google account, is that you're going to want to create one, because it's just going to be the easiest way for you to keep everything. Well, Google's just the best way to do it.
Hey, Julie, hang on 1 second, too, just so everyone remembers in case you came on the call late. Each one of these steps, I'm going to send you an actual Word document that Julie typed up showing you exactly how to do this step by step. So don't go crazy writing things down or think you're going to forget it. You'll also get that in part of your link as well. So go ahead, Julie.
Yes, okay. So you're going to go to google.com, and then at this little box up here, you're going to click onto that and go to your Google Drive. And this is where you'll need the Google account for this. So once that opens up, you're going to want to go, because you're going to create a new document. So you're going to click on that. You're not going to see it in this exact spot. It's going to be the Google form that you're going to want to create. Once you have that opened up, and this is where you're going to start entering in all your information up for the title. That's where we put the Miranda Real Estate Group pie giveaway. And under for the description, we use that we appreciate the continued support this Thanksgiving and every day. So when you start with your questions, you're going to want to go for your first one, a first name, second one, last name. And we did do those as separate and required fields specifically, because if you have a client by the name of Mike and you're not going to necessarily know who that Mike is, it's the best way to keep it under control. So you'll type in for the question here, let's do first name. And I'm going to switch this question type to a text box, because you're going to want them to type in their information. And then down at the bottom, you're going to want to click that is a required question that they need to fill in. And then you can click done. And you're going to add another item, which will be another text box. And then that's where you can start going with the last name. Make that a required question. Done. And then for the next one is where we ask what type of pie that they would like. So in that, you're going to make it a choose from a list. And then there is where you can give your options. And obviously that as well would be a required question. So as you're going through that, I'll go over to what ours actually looks like now that you get an idea of how to do that. We have first name, last name, what kind of pie would you like is required, which office are you going to pick it up at, your contact phone number as a required, and again, that's a good way, as Willie said, to make sure to keep your records updated, and your agent's first and last name, because again, we have multiple agents that use the same form. You'll notice that your email address, I don't have that as a required field, and that was from a client that was trying to fill out the form and actually didn't have an email address to use and wasn't able to complete the form. So these are things, trial and error, that we've done it specifically this way because we found out that that's what works best. Down here for your confirmation page, you can pretty much just leave that as is. I like to have it as show link to submit another response checked for me specifically, so that when people are calling into the office, if I have to enter multiple in, I can just have the sheet up and click to when that sheet gets there to do the next response. So after you've created all this, if you go to your View Live form, it will show you how it comes out before you send it. And this edit this form up in the corner, you're seeing that, but when people are going to that, they won't see that, just so that you know that. So that's what it ends up looking like. And then when people are filling out their information, like I will do mine right now. And I'll click my response. And then if you go to our form here that all the information goes into, you'll see that my information just entered into here and show that I'm picking up an apple pie in Clifton Park and Willie was my agent. And then if you look at some of the other ones, when people are entering them in, which is very helpful for Willie with the insurance, they'll enter in if they are a customer from the insurance. And again, as he was saying, when people walk in the door, that's very helpful to know.
All right, well, awesome.
I think I got it. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to email me.
All right. Well, Julie, thank you very, very much. And I'm going to go ahead and switch the screen back over to me. But that is, again, Julie went through it pretty quick. We do have the step-by-step directions for you to go through. If you do run into a snag or a question or anything that you need, just shoot us an email. Actually, I'll give you Trish's email that you can email to Trish, and she'll be able to get a hold of Julie on here as well. So that is that part of the form. Like I said, I'll go ahead and make sure that you guys get a copy of that as well. All right, so let's see. What do we have on here? Let me just go to the end, and we are just about done. I apologize for hopping around screens here, but have a little bit of a computer issue going on today. So let me just go to the end of this form. There we go. All right, so for questions, any questions that you may have, I think I have pretty much everything on there. There was one more question on here. What if they ask for more than one pie? I know my answer to that. Dawn, you want to elaborate on that?
I have many people that ask for that, and I just give it to them. And I also have people, some of my assistants are like, I can't believe they asked for that. People will even ask for different types. Whatever people ask for, I just get it.
Yeah,
I don't know what your answer is, Willie.
Yeah, no, it's the same thing. If they want 2 pies, we'll go ahead and give them 2 pies. More likely we have, we do buy extra pies just for that reason. But if they do ask, hey, can I get more, they put in notes they want more, then that's fine. We'll give them, within reason, right? Where I'm not going to give them 10 pies, but I guess I'll have to look at their deal pending sheet to see what they're what they bought. But I guess there's a couple of people. I know Rosemary will definitely give 10 pies out for some of those commission checks she picked up. But if it's more than one, then obviously we do accommodate for that. The other question I have on here was the farm area. Believe it or not, some people don't know what that is. It's really a geographic area that you work, usually your neighborhood or an area that you're just going to really concentrate on. And I talk about that in the referral agent machine, about having that as one of your main lead generation pillars, right? You have your database, you have online, you have offline, but you really want to dominate a certain geographic area that we call a farm, where you can actually go after people there, but again, being top of mind with them, sending stats of the neighborhood, sending them just listed, just sold postcards like Rosemary's doing with the listings that she's getting. So now what's happening is that Rosemary started off small. She sent out, got a couple listings. I showed her how to market that with just listed and just sold. She then sent a newsletter out to the neighborhood with stats and information and patrimonials. And now she's just getting more and more calls from that neighborhood because she's concentrating on that one area. So that's what a geographic farm is. So now to invite them all to your pie event, again, if you have 200 people, you're only going to get maybe 30 or 40. It might take you up on that, and that's probably even a pretty high number. But they will be very grateful for it. And again, even if they don't come to the event, like in Rosemary's situation, they will remember you. And again, it's another touch to them to keep top of mind when it comes time to selling or any type of real estate conversations that they run into in the future. Okay, so please email Trish at tlouks@mrgteam.com. Again, that's TLOUX@mrgteam.com. Trish is my assistant, and she has a link for Dropbox for you to be able to get all those Word documents. You'll also get a copy of this PowerPoint presentation, and she'll give you all the information that you have. And if you have any questions, you can also email her, and she'll be able to get with Julie and answer any questions that you may have on the Google Doc. Our next gold call will take place on Thursday, November 19th at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific time, and we're going to be going over some more items off the 12-week year and some other things that I'm working on that I want to share with you to make your 2016 a much better year for you. Hopefully, for some of you. I mean, some of you are having great years this year, and that's awesome. But I think a lot of times we can even make these years better. So last question on here I think I had is, Google the same process you used last year Mike handled that part of the business, so I wasn't sure. Thank you so much. Yes, we've been using that each and every year, and it works great. But like I said, don't get hung up on it. If you just want them to email you or call you, they can do that as well. And you know, I know Don's been doing that very successfully for years, and you can do that as well. So, so that's it. I want to thank Julie very much for taking time to put all this stuff together for us and getting that Google Doc. So thank you, Julie.
You're welcome.
I want to thank Rosemary for being a great coaching client and student, like many of the people on this call, and to even more success for you in 2016.
Thank you.
And Don McCurdy, as always, thank you very much for not only being a great friend and broker, but being a great mentor to me over the years and taking time out of your busy day to be on this call and helping our members. So thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. And Andrea, anything else we need to do before ending this call? Andrea might be off. Okay.
I'm
going to
here.
go ahead and end it.
No, it looks like we've got everything settled.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you, Andrea, again, and thank you, everyone, for being on today's call. Have a great rest of the week and a great weekend. Take care.